Let me first start with going in and sharing my screen. And let me know if you all can see my screen.
Ready, all set to go.
Good to go. Great. So, of course, we are talking about SAP and Sophie. One of the big things that we have done with Sophie this year is to truly make it a enterprise digital assistant for the SAP world. Predominantly what we have used Sophie in North America has primarily been on the help desk side to be able to do a lot of level one type work and augment our agents who are providing that service to make it a virtual assistant on the help desk side. But we did have this year the move to really integrate Sophie with SAP to provide a enterprise digital assistant to help with functions within the ERP world. Now, from a overall strategy standpoint, we always want to make sure that we are working towards, providing this service at an enterprise level, but also to get on that journey of digital transformation. It's really one of those things that can make the interaction with complex ERP systems like SAP a lot easier, where the cognitive agent, the conversational AI, can bring a lot of value to the business, because the personnel don't have to try to figure out how to do certain tasks within the system. The system can do those tasks, and the business folks can then focus on really the strategy or the day-to-day execution of the business, and worrying a whole lot about the back end functionality of the ERP system. Now, coming to what we are really doing with the enterprise digital assistant, and I'll talk right from the top. Right, so we can directly make changes to the system by actually moving the changes that are made in a development system to a testing system to a production system, all using Sophie as the orchestrator of the activities that need to be done at the back end. We can also do a lot of proactive monitoring, especially in the cloud space, where we have SAP deployed on the cloud, but we also want to optimize its usage from a performance perspective, its space constraints perspective as well. Now, the third piece that we also do is monitoring self-healing activities that really help on the IT management side. But also the big differentiator for us on this is being able to integrate on the business side as well. You'll see I will present a use case for master data management, where we are using Sophie to do business functions as well. Now, coming to the true value addition, and I will go through the slide in a great level of detail, because this is where, as we are talking to our customers and putting the EDA with Sophie out there for SAP, each one of these activities is a very, very integral part of what we really support through the EDA. Now, I will start with the application support, and be able to really do proactive monitoring of the systems, which is done on the back end. But Sophie then becomes the orchestrator of being able to take the activities that they see on the performance and make adjustments accordingly. From the job monitoring perspective, very, very important to not be a totally reactive organization where someone is coming in and asking, for some job to be restarted. We are able to use the cognitive power of Sophie to know that a failure has occurred, and then what other downstream failures may occur, and be able to remedy that with some self-healing algorithms in place. Now coming to the business side of it, basically being able to reduce the workload that you have on people from day-to-day mundane activities like master data maintenance. The other one is to be able to talk to Sophie and be able to get assistance on how to run a transaction. There are various times that we will get tickets that are truly how-to tickets on how a certain function needs to be carried out. Sophie can definitely help and walk a user through the complete scenario of placing a sales order or approving a purchase order, and then finally being able to really be able to provide some dashboarding, some functions to be able to make some business decisions, to be able to portray that as well. And finally, validation. If somebody makes an error, we are able to quickly look at errors that are present in the business function and give some remedial action for the user to take as well. Now, from the business workflow, that's again a very core key component that we are able to bring to the picture. And what I mean by that is Sophie can orchestrate behind the scenes certain follow-on activities that need to take place using the digital assistant, being able to either send a notification or alert a user that they have the next step that they have to take to process an order from order to delivery, or from delivery it's already been delivered. Now it sends a notification for the invoicing clerk to go and send an invoice to the customer. So all of those functions can be automated with workflows orchestrated by Sophie. And last but not the least, being able to be a true business assistant as well. So being able to have the self-help. This is more of an extension of what we already do with the help desk, but to be the true self-help agent that can guide the user to day-to-day tasks. Also, we can have Sophie train the user on certain actions, functions, and also being able to use that information to then be applied to not just one area of the business, but then take it to different geographies, different business units, so that they can understand what processes happen upstream and downstream. And this is a little bit about the use case that I'm going to cover. I'll also talk about specifically on the business area. But right now, one of the use cases that we have in production use on the business side is basically on the master data management. Master data is a very, very critical area in any ERP system to make the activities of the business on the back end flow smoothly. And now, where we start using this, importantly, if any of you all have actually seen a master data screen of SAP, it has about 14 different views, and it becomes every business may not be using every of the 14 views. They may not be even using all the fields. So using Sophie, we can have the user focus on just the specific fields that they want to use. Look at the possible suggestions that they should be using, like if they're creating a material. One of the first things that you have to choose is the material type. So is it a raw material? Is it a semi-finished good? Is it a finished good? And then give assistance of how or what the criteria should be to choose the material type. Then the user becomes empowered to make the correct decision as they're walking through that master data process as well. Now, when it comes to validation, we can always have the validation rules set in place so that as the person is entering the information, if there is something wrong based upon some certain based upon validation criteria, then we can correct those. And then if they are not able to correct those themselves, we can start a workflow, and it can go truly to a master data administrator where they can take on that function from the business. Then the other one is for being able to have a release strategy for the master data, where once the validation is complete, we can have a stage gate with Sophie where Sophie validates all the information, make sure everybody is informed, and then move that for productive use in the system. Another one, a key area, I touched upon it briefly, is being able to doing self-healing. And self-healing is mainly, when we talk a lot about shift left and gaining a lot of efficiencies from being able to not have human intervention. But self-healing is one more step in that area. One is being able to look at the systems, how it's performing, but also be able to predict, what has happened in the past. And this prediction can mean, it can mean a time of day where the CPU usage is very high. And so if we can demand either an additional VM or additional CPU to be assigned to be able to cover that workload, and then once that workload is complete and the utilization has fallen below a certain threshold, be able to release those back and be a part of doing that cost optimization, especially in the cloud space. Now, coming to error analysis as well as failure detection and repairing, these are one of those activities that have to happen from a proactive standpoint. We are able to train the cognitive agent to take certain actions and based upon error patterns. And basically, we'll use any tool which can be either the SAP Solution Manager or tools like Dynatrace to do the monitoring. But once that information is present, we can use some predictive analysis to be able to then take some action to repair what has caused that incident. And then, once these are done, then also be able to escalate those back to the technical teams to be able to see if there's a true root cause analysis, that these patterns are repetitive or something that has to be changed from a basis settings that have to be adjusted, etc. And this could mean like, hey, do you have to change the location of a specific file, and that's why the job is failing. We are able to now take some proactive steps based upon the information that the support teams are getting from Sophie as well. Of course, you all know that we are able to interact in various ways. So the digital assistant has the same capabilities, being able to have the natural language processing, being able to have the context memory in place, and as well as the self-learning that's present. Also, from a integration perspective, the digital assistant, of course, we're talking about SAP over here, but we are able to connect to various systems that may be needed in the life cycle of a ERP function. So it's not necessary that everything happens within SAP. I would say 90% of the tasks happen within SAP. But for example, you might have to go from SAP to Salesforce to update some customer information, etc. And we're able to really be able to do that with Sophie being the back-end orchestrator for this information. And the other one is, of course, being able to analyze the interactions. This is really important because a lot of our customers want to understand, how Sophie is making these decisions, what is behind the scenes. And it's very important to be able to showcase this in a manner that the confidence is there that the assistant can provide the necessary support. It's just not a proverbial pie in the sky kind of scenario. We are able to really back that up with data and show that it's really performing business functions as needed. And then, a little bit about this specific use case. This is for a polymer and chemical plant. They have a lot of master data requests that they do annually. You'll see over 26,000 master data requests in a year, which if they do have issues with, creates a lot of problems downstream. And we are able to use Sophie to be able to create, change, and validate the master data, and to make that entire process very efficient from a delivery perspective. So right now we are in the mode of developing this. We are, doing it a little bit. Part of it is done manually, and part of it is trying to get Sophie ready to really take on the core task of doing these activities and take it completely out of the level 1.5 support. All right, and that's all from me, from the presentation perspective, of course.
Sujoy, first of all, thank you for accepting our invitation. It was great. I know the job you guys are doing is fantastic. You were in the team to alert us to this huge opportunity in the SAP world. And I want to ask you, with the perspective of time, because when we started with ITO, we knew we entered a very, let's say, conservative universe where things have been done the same way for a long time. When it comes to SAP, the impression I have is that, again, we are challenging a way of doing things. We are trying to create something new. We are trying to create an impact. But you and your team have a much more ambitious vision. So we are not talking about support anymore. We are talking about monitoring, training, decision making, automating, alerting, approving. So how do you feel that this new SAP framework will impact the market? How do you feel this will be felt by our customers around the world?
Right. So I think this is, Alex, this is a part of that digital transformation journey, right? If we are going to do the same things the same way, the true transformation really isn't taking place. SAP has been in use since the early 80s, and where it is today, it's easier to use it. The user interfaces are friendly, but we are taking it to the next level, where we are trying to make it an interactive system, where it's not just you're entering data and then you forget about it, right? Or for us, it's make the transformation where individuals can use this as a enterprise resource planning tool, but don't have to worry about how the function is carried out within the system. We are trying to move the user of the SAP system to focus more on the business, however, use the SAP system to record the information, to give good planning data, etc. But from a true interaction perspective, that's what we are really trying to change and get them to that path of true digital transformation, where you want to have automation where possible, simplified interaction where possible, but also to be able to change the focus, that they don't have to be SAP experts, let them be business experts, let the cognitive agents take on the routine and mundane tasks as well.
And what you say is great, because we have two sides to this. One side is the user. So we are dramatically improving the user experience, because you don't have to understand anymore how this large complex system called SAP works. I mean, when we use natural language processing, as a user, you just have to ask what you need, and the system will give it back to you without you concerned with menus or drop downs or search boxes or where do I find some functionality. So as you say, I will be focusing on my business responsibilities instead of learning how to use this. And on the corporate side, we are allowing the corporation to collect data, and then we'll use that data to create even better experiments and to obtain business answers in how to improve my business reality on a day-to-day basis, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the big, deviations that we really see. Sometimes people are using the SAP system in a way that they are just doing it for record keeping purposes, right? It's just they were told to do it a certain way, and they keep doing it that way, and it's just for record keeping, and that's fine. But what we really want to be able to do is move and really get the information in such a way that we are using it as a true enterprise resource planning tool. It is for business to improve the business outcome. That's the end goal. And if we are able to simplify that interaction with the ERP tool, the the personnel that are interacting with it will now have the benefit of not only having it as a record keeping tool, but then trust the data within the SAP system to then be able to make business decisions out of that. That's what the end goal of what we want to be able to do. So people will not, they'll have some data, they will run some Excel spreadsheets in the back end, and then finally they will input some information into SAP because that's what they used to do. We want to be able to take out all those unnecessary interactions that they do with the system outside of the system and get them more truly integrated with the system, so there's a holistic view and people are not just operating in silos. And I think with getting the EDA in place can help in breaking that barrier as well.
Absolutely fantastic. Last question to you. Last question of this morning. Actually, we get back at 2 o'clock Eastern. You are leading an amazing team of professionals working in different continents right now. So it's your vision and the vision of this team of making an impact. And maybe this is it's nice that Sophie is truly global, but I mean, this is the most ambitious project that we have planned because we really want to bring something that is transformative to a very important market. Talk a little bit about how this experience is playing out.
Really, honestly, when we have talked about enterprise digital assistant and people have heard it, it's definitely been eye-opening for them. There is no one who has come and said, "Oh, we've seen this before in the market," or "We have seen somebody doing this." Okay, we are definitely, when we talk about the EDA and how it is able to integrate with Sophie, you're definitely getting everyone's attention when we do that. There is a great reception that we have for it. But like I said, we are beginning on this journey, and we are really excited about what it can bring. Right now, we have a small catalog of items that we are ready to demo, and there are also things that are ready for development, and then we also have some planning. So we have this entire SAP catalog that we are building. Obviously, the ones that we are ready to demo and showcase, we show them to our users. They are very, very pleasantly surprised. Everybody wants to use some sort of a digital assistant at some level, and this is going to be one of the first ones that truly break into being a assistant on the business side than just from day-to-day IT function. So the reception has been really, really warm, and a lot of interest on how this works. Like I said, we are still on the journey. We have just started this journey. We have about 10 cases on the assistant that we are ready to demo. We have about 20 cases that we are doing ongoing development, and we have about 25 use cases that we have planned in the future as well. So I'm really, really excited about where this is going to take us. We might be like 6 to 9 months down the road. We may have a very, very robust solution covering a lot of business areas and a lot of technical areas for SAP related services.
I mean, I want to thank you again, the whole team working on this. As I have been through this before, believe me, I mean, in 2 years, this will come from something else to all that there is. I mean, this will take center stage. Amazed by what you guys have done so far. I think this will be one of our greatest offers for the next year all over the world. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for your vision again. It was a pleasure talking to you, and keep up the good job. I think we'll all be very glad of it in the future.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.